community. And he's also well suited for the job of probate judge with a law degree and a long history in law and business. And as here in Summers, I would be hard-pressed to find anyone that I would trust more to handle things such as adoption, probate, the matters that are so critical to us in life, than I would to Tim. So as the season progresses, I just hope you'll keep him in mind when that important decision comes in November, and he's going to say a few words to you.
Thanks very much, Penny. Thank you very much. It's great to be here this afternoon to be able to talk to you. First of all, a little bit about myself and my background and why I'm running for probate judge. And one of the things that Penny just mentioned about this jobs impact statement, I also have got a career in government and service, so I know a little bit about impact statements. As you probably know, I used to be the environmental commissioner in the state from 1991 to 1995. And an environmental impact statement is something that's part of the law. When you have a project that has potential impacts on the environment, you're asked to look at alternatives that have less impact and try to balance the alternatives. Well, this idea of jobs impact is a great idea because a lot of times the state legislature passes laws, they don't have any clue what impact they have on jobs. So the question you ask is fantastic, and I agree with you. The manufacturing jobs in the state have been just going down further to be offset possibly by some financial services and other kinds of service-oriented jobs. But, you know, casinos, right? We got 11,000 jobs down there. They don't measure to the manufacturing jobs.
Yeah, but people don't realize that if you get a public service job that creates wealth and creates taxes, if you take the same person and you hire them as a government employee, you, the taxpayer, are paying for the guy's salary. So one's positive, the other's negative.
What I'm talking about is there are other kinds of services too that can be provided, whether it be tourism or financial services, people that need assistance with regards to brokering, investing, that kind of thing, banking. Anyway, my background pretty much is that I've been involved in providing service to both communities, state, and federal organizations for over 35 years. I was on active duty. My background, as far as education goes, I went to the Wharton School of Business, graduated with a degree in economics, went to the University of Connecticut School of Law, was on the law review. I was a good student. Met a lot of great friends there, and know lots of lawyers and judges in the state of Connecticut. I also worked for the federal government. I worked for then Senator Lowell Weicker in Washington, D.C., and I worked on the Senate Appropriations Committee staff. Now, the Appropriations Committee is a bad place to work because then people have to see all their money going through there. But I can tell you that we brought money back to Summers, Connecticut with regards to building sidewalks and curbs for roads that were going in with regards to development and sidewalks in both Summers and Summersville. Anyway, so I've had some history there. Also, I worked at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which is NOAA. It runs the Weather Service. Yes, they do know what the weather's going to be 5 days out, and they are better than people claim they are. And even though the hurricane estimate gets hit pretty hard, they do a pretty good job on that as well. But they also run the commercial fisheries, marine mammal protection, coastal zone management, civilian satellite programs, and I was their general counsel and deputy general counsel. So I worked in an arena that is heavily regulated, so I'm used to working with statutes and applying them in the best way possible. I also was the environmental commissioner in Connecticut, and then also in Rhode Island. I did that for a total of 7 years. I worked for Northeast Utilities as their environmental services director for 4 years, so I know a lot about the delivery of power and the need for alternative sources of power, renewable power, to get off this oil business, problems in the Gulf of Mexico. But what's been lucky for me is the last 7 out of the last 8 years I spent in Washington, D.C. working as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere. But I got to work in the Department of Commerce, and a very important job that involved law and application of law. And now I'm back in Connecticut, and I'm really interested in the probate court judge job. The reason I am is because it's a job where you can provide service to people and families directly, where it has direct impacts on their lives and livelihood. Try to help them through a process which is not all that complicated, but people just know very little about it. So there's an education element to it that's important. Also, there's important to providing service. And my whole career has been spent on providing service. My work ethic is 50 to 60 hours a week. I'm interested in transparency, so people can see what I'm doing. I make myself available to the population so I can provide the services that are needed when they're needed. So as far as I'm concerned, my job would be to provide services that relate to wills and trusts and adoption, the appointment of conservators and other people that can help the elderly in the most efficient way possible, in the most direct way possible, so I can help people that need help. And to me, there's no greater job than that kind of job. So that's why I'm interested in it. I think I could do a great job here in Summers. It's a job, by the way, because the law was passed last year. It now includes Enfield, Summers, Stafford, and Union. So what it does is it combines the courts of the two existing courts into one court. It's uncertain where that court's going to be located. But I can assure you, if I'm elected to probate court judge, I will be there to work for you and for your families. So if I could answer any questions, I'd love to do that.
You don't know where it's going to be assigned. What about Stafford Springs Court?
Well, right now, there's two courts. There's one located in Stafford, it covers Stafford and Summers, and there's one located in Enfield, it covers Enfield. Now, under the new law, those two courts are going to be consolidated into one court. And also, they're going to add the tiny, tiny town of Union, 750 people. Not a big deal. You got a lot of Republicans out there. Not all bad. Anyway. But by the way, this is very much apolitical. I mean, even though you have to run as part of a party, the job itself is not political in any respect. It's all about providing service to the population that needs it. Again, that's why I think, because of my diverse background and experience, having been in the military, having been working at the state level, at the federal level, private sector, that I've really got a very rich background where I can understand what people's problems are and try to get them through the probate process as efficiently and as inexpensively as possible. And I know some of the questions that have been asked already are, gee, I understand probate really takes a whack out of your estate, it's really expensive. That's not true.
Only if you have a lot of money.
Only if you've got $20 million, it might take a good chunk of it. If you've got anybody in the room who's got $20 million, I want to talk to you after. We'll talk about a few other things. I got a couple of buildings for sale in Somersville, actually. Of course, as you know, my family grew up here. I grew up here with my family who's from here. Been from Summers for about 140 years. And Summers means a lot to me. Summers has always been my hometown. Summers has always been home to me, whether I was over in Vietnam or whether I was in a coral reef down in the Caribbean or wherever I happen to be. And by the way, when I worked in Washington for 7 of the last 8 years, I commuted back to Summers every single weekend. So I had over 500 flights on Southwest Airlines. So if you want to know anything about Southwest and how to fly that airline, I'm an expert. I can do it blindfold. But if you got any questions that relate to probate or interests, other interests, we'd love to answer them. Great to see my friends Marie over there.